Morning world, it's silly o'clock in the morning. It's about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning on the 11th of May 2016, and this is my take on the astrological void moon. At the moment we are having a lot of void moons caused by the fact that most of the planets are in the early part of their sign. There's no planet in the later part of its sign. The moon goes void every 2.5 days. What it actually means is that every 2.5 days the moon goes into a new sign of the zodiac, during which time it then aspects every other planet in the sky. There comes a time when it aspects the last planet that it makes an aspect to before it leaves that sign, and the gap between that last aspect and the time that the moon then leaves that sign of the zodiac and moves into another one, it is called the void of course moon. The moon is not making any further aspect or any further influence to anything in the sky before it leaves that sign. Therefore it is inactive. Now the moon is void on average for about 10 to 15% of the time on average, and this is over the course of a 3 to 5 year period. There are times where the moon is void for 24 hours or even more, very rarely, at a time. Recently we've had a lot of void moons of about 12 hours or more. There is one today from about 8:30 this morning UK time through to about 10:30 tonight. You would think that because the moon is void, of course, on average, say 15% of the time, that 15% of people born would be born on a void of course moon. Not so. For some reason, only about 5 to 8% of people are born on a void moon. Whether this implies that the soul does not choose to be born when the moon is void, or what the soul does choose to be born when the moon is void, I don't know, but it's an interesting question. If the person is born on a void moon, the moon is not affecting anything else in their horoscope. It is not an unaspected moon, it is a void moon. What it means is that the person is generally out of touch with other people when it comes to expressing their emotional situations. It means that their feelings, their emotions, their habit patterns, their day-to-day life and routines don't fit into the same pattern that most of the people around them do. They don't relate to most other people at the emotional level at the same way that other people do. This doesn't mean they don't relate or that they don't have feelings. It just means that it's different for them than it is for most others. On the one hand, it's a curse because it means that people born on a void moon seem somehow detached, impersonal, occasionally uncaring. On the other hand, it's a blessing because it gives them a unique perspective and helps them see the world in a way that other people simply don't. It's a position of emotional objectivity much of the time. Depending, of course, on the sign and the house that the moon is in, a void of course moon helps people see the world in a way that gives them much clearer perspective than most others, unfettered and unlimited by emotional considerations or by emotional patterning. This can be great when it comes to objectivity and detachment. It can also be really difficult if they're trying to relate to people at the emotional level. It seems as if they're not on planet or in a different position to everyone else. They're not really feeling what everybody else around them is feeling. So if your best friend, if a family member, if your partner is born on a void of course moon, don't try and understand them because that won't work. Instead, trust them to go with the flow on their own feelings, relate to them on their terms at the emotional level, but don't expect them to behave the same way as everybody else does, because they don't. They're almost occupying a different space-time to the rest of humanity. It's both a blessing and a curse, but these people form a definitive block of people who are here to teach the rest of humanity that we're not just creatures of emotion and feeling. There's also intellect, mentality, sensitivity, as well as just mood and feeling. Some of the most famous people in the world were born on a void moon. John Lennon, Winston Churchill, Julia Roberts. And these are people who went on to become world leaders in their respective field. It's not that challenging a position. It's different. Not better, not worse, but different. There you go, world. Enjoy. Bye.